Kevin, I don't understand. This game is just that tacked on mode from Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's not really a full game in the sense that it's like a real Resident Evil game. Though it does come with the demo for the new Resident Evil Revelations that's coming out, but it's really short. You do get to play a little bit in there, but the actual game Mercenaries in the 3D it's about a bunch of challenges. Really, you're sort of like inside different maps, and basically a lot of challenges will be shoot all the zombies, which is obvious, and then there may be like. You got to run around the maze and collect different things, etc. But for the most part, yeah, it has no real storyline behind it. It's just a challenge mode. So
okay.
It looks pretty good. I mean, for the handheld, I mean, it's the best game I've played looking wise, and it plays pretty good. I've heard a lot of complaints though that it doesn't have all of the same features as the add-on mode from the console version, and so a lot of people are like all negative on it. Now, for me. I didn't play the console version, so I'm not sitting there thinking like I'm missing anything. You know what I mean? It's like if your first car ever was like a Volkswagen Bug, you'd be like, this is the greatest car I've ever had. You'd be driving it around, and then somebody's like, this is a Ferrari, and then you'd be like, wow, that's way better than my car. I mean, but that's how it is. I mean, right now I'm still driving the Volkswagen Bug, and I think it's great. I mean, I think the game's pretty fun, but it does have a rather large, gaping huge problem, and that's the fact that for some reason Capcom decided to make it so that there is only one game save and you can't reset it. You can't redo it.
Why? Why would you do that?
You know what? I tell you, let's back up a second. I kind of just wanted to see, Kevin, how long you could go. I was just watching the timer to see.
Sorry, I interrupted.
Like how far we could get with just you on this review. So we're talking about Resident Evil Mercenaries for the 3DS,
right.
And this is Mr. Kevin J. Baird.
Hello.
And Jason Murphy.
Howdy.
And myself, Professor Jeff. And I think Kevin is the only one here who's played this, and we're just here to figure out why.
Mock him and ridicule him. Why did
what are the controls like? Is it more like Resident Evil 4 or 5?
Yeah, there's actually is a first-person shooter mode in the game, but for the most part it is, you can move and shoot and reload and everything, and they can mention, man, the zombies are fairly stupid. I mean, they get really close to you and they kind of just look at you for a while before they even do anything to you. So you have a pretty good opportunity to like shoot them, which sort of makes up for the fact that, you have a sort of a limited range of vision. You got to spin around and stuff and see who's near you. Now
are these the Las Plagas zombies or traditional Resident Evil zombies?
You're moving around from location to location. I'm not exactly sure that but it's not. I would say it's not traditional, and I guess it's from the 5. But I don't know. It's. Like I said, I didn't play Mercenaries, the first one, so I can't say for sure if that's what it is, but I think it's from 5. I mean, I felt like I was in Africa, is that what we're talking about? And they come at you in different waves, and there's, male, female, there's a whole bunch of variety there. They got the big guys that blow up and all that sort of stuff or whatever. It's okay, it's all right. I mean, but it lacks a story. It just lacks depth in that area, and
So I mean, there is actually no story to this game whatsoever.
There's a guy on the radio, right? And he just is like, "Let's see what you can do. All right, I want you to clear out all the zombies in this area. Go!" And you got like a time, and so like you got a time limit, and you're just running around shooting them, and there's you run out of time, and he's like, "That was terrible. Do it again." You just do it again, man.
Well, it sounds like the complete opposite of the story-dense Resident Evil games, which they get a little crazy, kind of Metal Gear-ish, and don't really necessarily make a lot of sense. And you're like, all right, whatever. I just want to kill zombies, and thus Mercenaries is born.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's just the maps aren't that big. I mean it feels a little rushed. You know what I mean? It's like they were working on probably a new one, and they said, well, why don't we just, put this out? But it's got a lot of maps. It's got a lot of missions. It actually plays pretty good. And in terms of what's available for the 3DS right now, it's not so bad. But, again, a lot of people came at it and said, "Hey, this is this is the same game that was on the consoles, and they're asking full price for it, and it doesn't have everything, that the console version had. So, it feels like it should be a lower price title." And I guess I agree with that. I mean, maybe it shouldn't have been what it is, but when the competition right now is like on the 3DS is this or
Ocarina of Time.
yeah, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Big silence.
I'm trying to think of something else that's even, comparable. There's nothing,
The Phineas and Ferb game.
Right. So at the moment, it's not bad for, what it is. And I think it looks pretty good. But I really, I think anybody playing it will just want to play like Resident Evil Revelations, because you play the demo and that seems pretty cool. And the engine's really good and it looks good. It's just, yeah, but it's not that, I don't know. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that if you, go out and buy it on discount somewhere, you'd be pretty happy with owning this. If you paid full price for it, maybe not. Maybe that, that wouldn't do your thing. But, again, like I said, there's a big flaw. You're not going to buy this game used. Well, you might, but it's going to be like somebody's going to have already beaten it, and you're going to get to play their save game because you can't really resell this game. So you either have to buy it new or you have to wait for them to give it on discount.
And is that why? To kill the resale value?
And that's what people say Capcom did it for, but they didn't, confirm that. But the vice president said that they won't be doing it again due to the negative reaction.
What the hell did you think was going to happen, asshole?
Capcom's been kind of flailing around with that issue, with the kind of trying to get around, used games. Bionic Commando Rearm 2 had the feature where you always had to be logged into the PlayStation Network in order to be able to play it. And then, of course, the PlayStation Network went down for a month and a half, so nobody could play the game. It's kind of similar thing here. But I guess the question that I've always had about this particular release and that issue is, what is it that, I mean, if you were to go and buy this and somebody else's save game is on it, you can still go back and play all the individual missions, I assume, right?
I'm not exactly sure because I didn't do that. Maybe. I mean, look, yes. I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, basically, I'm using my memory here. It's old. You got to forgive me. But yeah, you do. You pick like a level, and then each level has different missions, and so you go from one to the next, which has kind of a clunky interface because, like, when you complete a mission in the game, it doesn't even automatically take you to the next mission. You sort of like have to go to the menu, to the missions menu, to the level, to whichever mission you want to play, and then you play it. And it unlocks them as you go. So, I mean, I guess in some senses that's true. But the thing is that you didn't really get there yourself. You didn't unlock all those levels. And, there's a certain amount of challenge with that. I mean, if it was me and you gave me the game, I might just go right to the last level just to see the ending or something, if there even is.
You don't even bother playing it. You're like, oh, good. It's already finished. I just watched the ending. We'll just put it back.
Yeah, I mean, because everything's unlocked and everything at that point, so you just don't have the same. I don't know. I mean, because if you,
what are you unlocking? I mean, are there weapon upgrades or
weapon upgrades and there's characters too? Although I'm not sure if they're unlockable so much as it is you just get you run into them. I can't quite.
Well, do you play as the same character throughout the game?
There's a selection of characters, but Leon isn't playable. Yeah, I should have done my research a little bit better. But there's Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, Claire Redfield, Jack Krauser, Barry Burton, Rebecca Chambers, and Hunk.
Hunk
competing in the game. Yeah, they're all playable, but for some reason the main character's not there because he says it's due to the fact that he's in Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. So that's why he's not in this game. Okay, I don't know who's getting this game and looking at like the timeline of events and saying to themselves, wait a minute, this guy can't be here. He should be in this other game at this period.
Right.
Well, I was just saying, wait a minute, isn't Operation Raccoon City supposed to take place during Resident Evil 2?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole point of it. So is this game take place, I mean, it doesn't even sound like it has a real setting, a firm setting of any real sort, but this takes place during Resident Evil 2?
Listen, okay. Welcome to weird-ass, crazy Japanese Capcom. Okay, it says on the Wikipedia, Mercenaries 3D is not a canon entry in the series and therefore has no official story. Okay, and then it says, this guy's name that I can't say, I'll say his last name, Kawada jokingly states Leon's absence is due to his appearance in the upcoming Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. So apparently there is canon to him. Or, I don't know.
It sounds like what they're saying is that Leon is, I mean, it's what they're saying. Leon, the actor, the character Leon, he couldn't be in this game. He was busy. He was doing something else.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Is that a disclaimer on the box? It's like, listen, Capcom is making this shit up as we go along. Cut us some slack. Sincerely, right. Capcom.
What gamers are really sitting there going, well, where the fuck is Leon at? Can't play this game.
This shit ain't canon.
Yeah,
I can't look at the back of Chris Redfield's head. I need to be looking at the back of Leon Kennedy's head.
Now this is just going in a weird direction.
Oh, cool! Hunk is in this game. I'll play Hunk. Yeah, but you know, again, it's one of those things that it actually doesn't play that bad. It actually, if you get a chance to like play it, it'll make you feel pretty good that Resident Evil Revelations is going to be pretty fun. I mean, because the control scheme here is pretty solid. The aiming mechanic is really solid. You're getting off headshots and stuff. You know, you're able to move around pretty freely. You know, it's a good experience overall, game engine wise. I mean, in the limited amount of time that I guess Capcom had with this, they did a really good job. I mean, I think it plays really good. But, you know, overall, in terms of a game with depth, it's just a bunch of challenge modes. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of different maps. There's a lot of different, like, you know, gear and things that you pick up along the way. So, you know, if that's your kind of thing and it's fun, I think it's worth the money, you know, but maybe eventually the price will fall, you know, so maybe you want to wait for the new game to come out on discount. Or, you know, if you don't care and you don't mind replaying somebody else's shit, you can just get the used version, because I think you could probably buy it for $5 somewhere, you know.
Well, how
there
long,
it is. If you don't mind sloppy seconds.
Yes.
It's just this giant head game that Capcom was playing. Like, yeah, you can buy it used, but you just have to make yourself, like, you have to pretend like you just bought the game and turn off all of the upgrades and use the shitty weapons and, you know, just disregard the fact that everything has already been completely beaten in the game.
Like Memento or something?
Yeah. How's the 3D? Is it pretty overbearing, or does it work?
It's okay. You know, I'm one of those guys where none of the 3D really bothers me that much. I mean, I can take it or leave it, but I don't get headaches or anything from it, you know. So, I mean, I can leave it on all the time, and it looks pretty good, but the maps aren't, like, that big, and they don't have a lot of depth of field. So, I mean, you know, you're looking down like a street or an alleyway or whatever, and it looks like, you know, 3D zombies are coming out and stuff, but there's no real effects going on, like when the zombie doesn't, like, just come out and, like, jump out of the screen at you or anything. It's like everything else we've seen. It's just sort of like you're looking inside a shoebox type of thing, you know, not so much anything popping out.
And about how long would you say just a regular old playthrough is?
Well, I mean, Jeff, you and I are on different planets when it comes to skill level. I mean, you're an expert. You can crush a game in a couple of days, and it takes me weeks, so I'm not really sure. But I would say at least 20 hours.
Okay. So all in all, I mean, we've kind of danced back and forth between buy it used if you don't mind or whatever, but at the end of the day, what do you say? Is it full price, or is it not worth full? Is it not worth $40 or whatever?
I would say it's probably a high discount for me. You know, I mean, that's the only way I can really say it. I mean, I think it has to come down like at least $10 off of retail, because, you know, the save game system is messed up, and it does lack story and it lacks depth. And, you know, I think that with Resident Evil Revelations coming out, you know, that's the full game. You know, that's going to be the one that you're going to want to pay full price for. And my guess is once that does drop, this one will be like at least half price.
This sounds like a huge waste of time. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but I think most of these games are. I mean, you know, you're sitting in a car and you're going somewhere. You're on a bus or a plane or something, and you know, there's a few challenges. You're doing one challenge at a time. It's good for a portable system. You know, you don't have to get into something really big. You're just waiting in line. You just work your way through a challenge, and I think in that sense, it does work pretty good. But you know, I don't know. You pay full price. You want a little bit more depth. I mean, I do. So I just can't really recommend it.
Mercenaries 3D.